Okay, so now we proceed further, and today we will be doing a very important topic, that is levels of health. Levels of prevention. So levels of prevention has a second part of it, it is modes of intervention, which I will be doing in the next session because I want to keep it simple. So we will do levels of prevention today and then add modes of intervention in that framework in my next session. Levels of prevention for us at undergraduate level are 4, and these must be very, very clearly understood by us. Let me not say it what I wanted to say, but let us go directly into my topic. I don't want to say harsh word here, but you deserve that. You deserve harsh words. I'm sorry to say that. Anyhow, the first level of prevention is primordial prevention. The second is primary. The third is obviously secondary, and fourth is tertiary. So primordial, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now understand it with an example. There are risk factors. So we have studied risk factors. So there are risk factors for diseases. The second comes disease itself, and third comes the complications or mortality because of disease. So 3 steps are there. We can take action before risk factors. We can take actions after risk factors. We can take actions just when the disease has started, and we can take action when the disease is well developed and we are trying to prevent further complications. So these are the basic classification. So first is primordial. Primordial deals with prevention of development of risk factors in individuals, group of individuals, populations. This must be very clear. Now take an example of smoking. Smoking is a risk factor. Smoking itself is not a disease. Sedentary lifestyle is a risk factor. It is not a disease. So if we prevent development of smoking or development of sedentary lifestyles in people, individuals, populations, then we are acting at a primordial prevention level. What are the tools available? How we do it, primordial prevention? We do mainly through health education. We can also do it through various legislations. We can also do it through environmental measures. I will come to that later on, but these are the important ways. But for us, if you don't want to go into something, you just understand that health education is one of the most important tools. I educate people not to smoke. I educate people to exercise regularly. So these are primordial preventions. Well, the action taken before the occurrence of disease and for our neat understanding after the development of risk factors. So situation will be given to us when the risk factors are present, but the disease has not yet started. Either of the 2 situations or both of these 2 situations, then we are acting at a primary prevention. Primary prevention is defined as actions taken prior to occurrence of disease so that the disease does not occur. Excellent example, I think that everybody gets it, is immunization. Immunization is done before the occurrence of disease and it prevents the occurrence of disease. So it is primary prevention. Other examples of primary prevention is chemoprophylaxis. Chemoprophylaxis we use in various diseases. Let us say meningococcal meningitis. Cases are occurring around me. Outbreak has occurred. So if I take chemoprophylaxis, the disease will not occur in me. So that is primary prevention. So chemoprophylaxis, immunization, dietary supplements, specific dietary supplements. I am taking folic acid so that folic acid deficiency does not develop in me and diseases are prevented in me. The next is secondary prevention. The secondary prevention, the disease has started. The pathogenesis at least has started. We will further study it when we study natural history of disease, but understand the primary prevention is over, the disease has now started, and if we take action early in the start of disease, then it is secondary prevention. Secondary prevention is defined as, or the phrase used is, early diagnosis and treatment. Early diagnosis is done by various type of investigations. It is done by screening. It can be done by active case detection and treatment, so that we do not go into further stages. And the tertiary prevention is the disease has occurred again and it has is well established. It is well established. Now we want to prevent complications, the disability because of it, the death because of it. So that the phrase used are disability limitation. I want to limit the disability. And secondly, those who have become disabled, I want to bring them back as far as possible. That is called rehabilitation. So these two words we will further study under modes of intervention. But again I will revise because it is so important. It is so painful not that students don't understand or they are not aware of these things. It's very unfortunate. You appear in examination 3 months ahead and you don't know what is primary prevention. It is almost shameful, both for you and both for me and me. So primordial prevention, we prevent development of risk factors. Primary, we prevent occurrence of disease. Secondary, early diagnosis and treatment. And tertiary, prevent the complications and death because of disease. Example can be prevention of smoking, prevention of sedentary health lifestyles is primordial. Immunization, chemoprophylaxis is primary. Use of, I will give you this example later, very interesting example. All diagnostic tests. I want to do cervical smear, pap smear. I am doing secondary prevention. I want to do malarial parasite RDT, rapid diagnostic test. I am doing secondary prevention. I treat you early for malaria or tuberculosis or diphtheria. Then I am doing secondary prevention. And tertiary prevention is limiting the disability. A good example which Park has given is, we will come to that, we will study disability limitation. The polio has occurred. The child foot is in paralysis. But give a position to the baby's foot so that he or she can use it to the maximum extent. The disability is minimized. We are limiting the disability. So this, or somebody has got amputation of foot. So we provide him artificial foot. That is called rehabilitation. So these are tertiary prevention. Now a very interesting example which I learned recently, it's learning for me also. Take the case of malaria. The mosquito is not a disease. Mosquito is a risk factor. Malaria is the disease. And we can get complications because of malaria. Falciparum malaria complicates, causes severe malaria, can even cause death. So source reduction, that is environmental, we are filling up the land where the water stagnates, will prevent the breeding of mosquito. Mosquito is equivalent to risk factor. So we are doing primordial prevention. Use of Odomos or mosquito repellent, mosquito net. The mosquito has developed, which we have identified as the risk factor, but we are preventing the occurrence of disease. We are not letting the mosquito bite me and inject sporozoites into me. That is primary prevention. Malaria parasite has been entered into me by a good mosquito bite, and now I am doing test peripheral smear for malaria or RDT to diagnose and to treat as per the national guidelines is secondary prevention. And the disease has well established falciparum. I have gone into renal failure, or I have gone into severe anemia because of falciparum infection, and then you treat, you save my life, you prevent complications. That is tertiary prevention. So I again will request you to spend some time, understand, and once you have read it, revise it in your mind or with your friend so that the concepts get clear. We can't do mistakes in these types of things. These are basic concepts. If we don't know basic concepts, how can we proceed further and study communicable disease or non-communicable disease? Thank you.